Welcome to B2B with Randy and Craig, where we speak to local entrepreneurs and learn about their journey. Welcome to B2B, where we discuss the rise, the fall,
and the kicking.
We're not doing that. Family show. I say it every week. Hey, I'm Randy. I'm here with my sidekick,
Craig from That's a Rap Productions.
There you go. And we have with us Dimitri. I'm going to leave it to you. Savastos.
There you go.
From Optimus Group. Primers Group. And the reason why I had that hesitation, and you're going to tell us why.
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Tell us the story why I had that hesitation in the name of your company.
In the past couple years, we've really started developing and branching out within the specific verticals in construction that we're in. We have a painting division, and through the painting division, we actually evolved, and we have a construction division now. Through that, Optimus Primers is still our painting vertical.
So you're still painting?
Correct. But we also have Optimus Group, which is the whole of the construction side of the house.
Got it.
Where we focus on construction management as well as GC services.
So that was my mess up, and I apologize for that. But the first thing that Craig and I have to ask after that is, why construction?
Yeah, why construction? It kind of just led into it. I grew up in the painting industry.
Mm-hmm.
As some people say, you might have the eye for design or color or the way things are done. Finished.
And painting, when you say painting industry, you're talking about house painting, not...
Correct. Yeah.
Not
muralist.
muralist.
Not Picasso. Not muralist.
Right.
We have people that we use for murals.
Of course.
Arlene Murals, great person. She's out of Massapequa area. But,
Does she do the mural in your building?
She did that one. She's done a bunch of stuff like Dirty Taco and churches. She does amazing work.
Awesome.
From the painting perspective, I started Optimus roughly around 7 years ago. I was in between things, and I wanted to do my own thing. And my wife's like, "Hey, why not go back to painting?"
Because that's what you grew up doing. Is that what your family business
correct,
was?
Yeah. But my dad was, super Greek, so he's like, "Go learn computers. It's the future."
He was right though.
Yeah, he was. And I was in the tech industry for roughly around 15 years. Working from surveillance industry in the surveillance industry.
Right.
And kind of led into leveraging retail analytics for like Simon Properties and all that good stuff. We were tracking people coming in and out of stores,
Right.
traffic counts, conversion rates, all that good stuff, and made my way all the way up to Salesforce.
Nice.
And I was there.
Those people don't know what Salesforce is. Salesforce is the largest CRM. Is that a best way to describe it?
Yeah,
in the country, in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, probably 40, 50,000 employees.
Wow.
now.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. But the experience that I learned through, Mark Benioff and Ohana and the way you brand yourself and communicate to your customers kind of really stuck with me when I was building out Optimus Primers at the time. And obviously we want to play on word, Optimus Primers.
Yeah, there you go.
And I started off in the residential side. I picked up a paintbrush myself, started painting some homes, quickly built it up to 4 or 5 painters myself. Started realizing that homeowners deserve, a working painter or someone who's working within the service that they're in, not a sales guy coming, selling, and then just dumping your guy.
You're talking about that you went there, you sold the job, and then you prepped it, and you were there with your crew painting it.
But as you scale it, you see that sometimes that's not the best thing because you're not physically there all the time, whether it's quality control, color variations, how many times that we've painted walls and customers would be like, well, that's not the color we picked.
Right.
But lighting plays a big role, reflections off the floor, furniture.
And I'm sure over the years you've learned those tricks, I'm going to call it, that are going to change the perception. So you're setting expectations.
Yeah. And as you start to gain traction and start selling to more clients, you really start to level set that very early on, so you don't have any what ifs on the back end, and then you're developing and you're growing.
So I want to back up for 1 second. You're jumping over developing and growing, and that's very part because what we're talking about is that entrepreneurial growth. So here you are leaving a tech industry, coming into painting. I understand that it was your background, but it's still a new trade. You got to reinvent yourself, new branding. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How do you get started? Like, what was your first thing? Did you knock on doors? Did you place an ad online? Yeah. What do you do?
I painted a lot of free homes in the beginning.
There you go.
A lot of family homes, a lot of friends' homes, and
interior, exterior, both.
It started off interior, right, and then just started developing and growing. A lot of family gave me the opportunity to post pictures and
build
the brand. as people, we've become so accustomed to reviews and what it looks like before they make any decisions from other people. So you have to, kind of eat some dirt before you start.
Right.
Right. You got to show your work. You
Yeah.
gotta show what you do.
So you're a family man. You're married now.
Sure, married. I have 2 kids.
Beautiful
I have,
children.
A
Beautiful
3-year-old daughter and a 1.5-year-old daughter. So 2 girls, girl dad.
How
I
do
got
you-
3.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, he
amazing.
knows.
Get ready.
amazing.
You're headed for it.
Randy and I have a plethora of conversations, but I heard they love you, they hate you, and then they love you again, right?
Yes.
So
Throw a couple more hates in there, a couple more love, and you got it. You got the formula.
So
Exactly.
how do you two-part question? Number one, is your family involved with your business? And B, two, how do you juggle being a business owner and a parent?
sure. Well, my wife always has an opinion, so you could say she's involved with the business in some way.
She's 100% involved in the business.
My family connected. No, it's all kind of myself and some partners that we've developed and partnerships that we've developed along the way.
Right.
And as far as being a family man, I made my life kind of easy. We live in Wantagh. I have an office in Wantagh. My in-laws watch my kids. I actually bought a house right behind my
Yeah,
in-laws.
yeah.
Put a gate up, and like my
Greek
morning
family.
commute is I get my girls ready. I put them in my arms. I walk them across the backyard. I drop them off to my in-laws' house, and I go to work.
That's
very-
fantastic.
So it's very good to have a good support system around you, especially when you're developing and growing a business, but also a family.
Yeah.
Very
Right?
important.
100%.
I think that's one thing, people forgot. Family is very important, especially when you're growing, and the heritage that's involved with it as well too.
And it's really interesting because having the support of your family is so important because your business is part of your family.
Sure.
It's actually a baby that you're feeding.
Right.
And if we're not all in it together,
Right.
It's not going to grow up the right way and be successful and so forth. So you've taken your paint company and now you've diversified it.
Sure.
So let's talk about that.
It was getting to the point where as we were, we started off on the residential side, like I said. I had a good run. I had some great opportunities with some good connections through proper networking and getting out there. That's one of the biggest things is joining these networking groups, building out your network, and again, getting the chance to work within these environments.
By the way, I'm going to interrupt you for a second. I want you to notice that over the last 3 or 4 weeks, the people that we're speaking to, the entrepreneurs that are growing their business, one of the most important ingredients they talk about is networking. And networking properly. Not networking, blah,
Right.
networking in the right group, with
the right people.
working those relationships properly.
Yeah.
And look what he accomplished. He's taking a business and moving it in another
Expand.
direction based upon these relationships that you built.
Absolutely, and you always have to put into your head, you can't have instant gratification, right? You can't think you're gonna join a networking group and boom, I'm gonna get business with
Right away, right.
It
Not
takes
happening.
some time, I joined a group. It took me roughly around a year to just really nourish the relationships. People understand who we are, what we're able to do before they start referring.
And I think
because
that's
their
a-
name's on it as well too.
I think
Right.
that's a typical timeline. I
Yes.
think he's right. It takes a year because they want to get to know you, know your business, know you're here.
Right.
Just because you walked into a room doesn't mean
Yeah.
that you deserve for everybody to come to you. So I agree with you 100%. But
So
I cut you off.
Yeah. So networking, and I had some good opportunities to work with companies like Lessings Hospitality.
Awesome.
And we've done a lot of work for them and continue to do. So thank you, Steve Kirschbaum and the Lessings Group.
Yeah, they manage quite a few property
Very.
buildings on Long Island in the city.
A lot of catering halls.
Yeah.
So it's good. And the catering halls, there's always traffic. It's always busy. So
Yeah.
they need refreshes quite often.
Nice.
And then through there, again, through some networks and introductions, we got into, working a lot with management companies and bank work. So we do a lot of, repair and maintenance work for banks and et cetera.
And I bet, I'm asking, that the quality work you've done on the paint side and meeting expectations has helped you to propel this end of the business because it's the same client.
Yeah, it is. It is. And, as we were, like I said, because I dealt with the residential homeowner and the expectations were always extremely
Yeah,
high.
well, you can deal with anything.
Then you could deal with anything because you have to understand when you're dealing with residential clients, it's their hard-earned money that they're paying for,
course.
and they have the right to call you at any time,
100%.
during the day, weekends, whatever. So you're constantly on call. When we pivoted into commercial, you talked about family and growth. Like you have to know when to shut it off, and I think commercial does a good role into that because I'm not going to get a call from a management company at 10 o'clock at night, like, hey, this color doesn't look
Mrs.
right.
Smith is calling.
So it's really helped us out and, kind of helped out the growth. Now, there are some caveats with working with commercial, payment terms and et cetera and insurances.
and all that.
New York is not the easiest state to work in, but if if you're consistent and you work well and, it starts to evolve.
And I know you're very diligent. You dot your I's, cross your T's. I'm sure prior to you moving into any additional capabilities, you've already done your homework and
that's all with mistakes, right?
That's okay.
And these are all learning mistakes. These are all learning curves. Things happen. I'm not the best person in the world.
You can't be successful if you don't
running a
fail.
business. Yeah, and if you don't fail, you don't learn, and shame on you if you don't learn off that failure.
Randy loves to say, and I love when he says it, that don't judge me by my mistakes, but judge me how I fix them. And I love that saying. So
I wish Christina, my wife, loved that saying. I'll be honest with you. She's not thrilled with it, but he likes it.
I like it a lot. So what would you say was one mistake that had to happen in your career to make it to where you are today?
You can't trust everybody.
That's true.
That's my biggest thing. At the end of the day, we're all, family orientated. Yeah, everyone loves each other. Hello, how are you? But you can't open yourself up too much. You can't give too much out to too many people because I feel like everyone's out for their own pocket, and
You got to know your circle.
understanding that and getting that early on. Understanding, you won't lose as much
Right.
in the long run. And so that was my biggest thing, is just not giving too much responsibility to too many people, just to say like, oh, I own a business, I can pull away a little bit. Never happens.
You got to know. You got to stay in the maybe not in the business, but on the business.
Sure, exactly.
So something I know about you is that you give a lot back.
Yeah.
All right, you're tremendous at making sure that your success is not kept just in your world.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. I don't know if you know. I mean, we can't tell on the radio, and certainly it's not standing up. This is a lean, mean fighting machine.
Yeah.
Wasn't always that case, but
No.
tell us the story.
So again, through our networking groups, I had a gentleman reach out to me again, Steve Kirschbaum, thank you very much, and he said, hey, you have to join this fight for charity. And for the longest time, I wanted to beat up my friend Paul Schmidt, and he wouldn't.
And he wouldn't do it.
He wouldn't sign up,
And you wouldn't even do it for charity. You would just do it.
Yeah, I was just kind of doing it. And 2 years in, he finally says, hey, I think this is your year. And I was like, you know what? I think it is as well, too. So we kind of put it into inception really early on. In January, I was roughly around 270-something pounds. And through the whole journey of, working out, proper diet, giving up a lot of bad habits, as you're especially developing, networking, growing a business, you know what the networking is like. You're always out, you're always eating.
Not
you're
always eating
drinking.
the best and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And, I cut a lot of that out, where I was very mindful of, how I perceived myself in front of other people as well, too. So I started working out more. I started eating right. I started spending more time with the family. And all these things, these happy little things running through your head really helps out that whole journey.
And that helped you on your journey too.
Now, the journey was to raise money for two charity foundations. One is the Eating to Genesis Foundation, which helps kids with autism throughout the life cycle, which is great. They
Very
have constant
important.
care, yeah,
100%.
huge. And the second foundation is the Community Chest of Long Island, where they pull up a bunch of money, and God forbid something happens where a family's in need or in peril, a flood, a fire, they need to relocate. They can reach out to the Community Chest, and they can help facilitate some funds for them.
Before you continue, we had a gentleman on, I don't remember, a couple of weeks ago from Long Island Contractors Roundtable.
Sure.
And what he does, John,
I know John very well.
so you get it. And it's similar to what you're saying. They help veterans out that can't
Yeah.
afford.
It's
And these
amazing.
contractors all come in and donate their time.
It's amazing.
It really is amazing. I'm not trying to steal the thunder. I'm just saying
Yeah,
the coincidence.
yeah.
John developed a great Facebook group. It gained a lot of traction, and it helped out with a lot of local contractors to give back as much as they can.
is awesome.
Through whether it's commenting on certain posts, if people are looking for information to that charity donation. I know they just wrapped up building something in. Did he talk about it?
Yeah, he did. They just he didn't talk about it, but I saw posted something.
Yeah,
He was
so
talking about a project,
Shout
a
out to
local
John
home
Castro
project.
and all the work he does. So it's guys like that really help out the community and keep it local.
And guys like you.
Yeah.
So here you are.
Yeah.
You're training for this boxing.
So we're training for the boxing.
How many people in the crowd?
And if you're just tuning in, we're sitting here with Dimitri Savastos.
Wow. You
Yeah,
son
look
of
at
a... you right there.
I'm bragging now.
He was just waiting for a moment to do that. Trust me.
And he's telling us all about his Optimus Group, right?
Yeah. So a bunch of volunteers come together. Now, these are all business owners. These are guys that are not fighters, and women as well too, that want to give back as much as they can to the community, as well as like getting in shape. And you build up like a certain demeanor when you're training to become a
I saw
fighter or a
Rocky.
boxer,
I saw
right?
Rocky. I saw.
It's really weird. I would walk down the street now, like I'm in the city, and like I kind of size people up a little bit.
He's kicking everybody's ass.
I could take him.
And people put time in the gym. These guys come. The whole group comes into the gym. We have a set amount of sparring sessions where the coaches can see the skill level, the quality, how much time you put into it. All the criteria is needed. It is a USA sanctioned fight.
Wow.
Yeah. So
you
we
have
get cards.
one sanctioned fight under your belt.
So far, yeah, one sanctioned.
What's your
fight.
record?
So far, he's ready.
0-1.
All right, 0-1.
So what happens is when the volunteers come into play, again they're matched up by skill level. Not everyone is matched up together who volunteers.
Right.
So sometimes you need a fill-in. And I had a fill-in. His name's Billy the Bruiser.
That's not good.
He was part of the gym. And we sparred a lot together. We danced very well. He taught me a lot of new things. So when it came time to match the boxers up, Frankie was like, I got no one else but Billy for Dimitri. So he didn't tell me. I had to hear from someone else. And when they were doing the boxing matchup at the Heritage Club, It was funny. It was like a last minute thing. One of the guys is like, hey, do you know who you're fighting? And he already knew.
So you had no idea.
And all of a sudden, here comes Billy, straight from the gym, looking like Apollo Creed.
Right.
He was just dressed up, like in sweats. I'm like, oh my God, he's here to fight.
He's gonna kill me.
But, that's the type of things. It's like Billy's a great boxer, and what makes him a great boxer is he understands the skill level he's boxing at. So he's like, hey, listen, man.
So he didn't beat the...
Yeah, he's a real gentleman, and
Nice.
he danced really well.
But once he saw you got a couple of hits in, he's like, okay, I'm turning it up.
I was very selective of the way I threw my punches.
Smart.
We're there for charity at the end of the day. We're not there to beat each other up. There were a couple fights that were amazing, like blood and falling out. Yeah, it was nuts.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I didn't...
Did you lose part of your ear? No one...
No, we're good. But the feeling, you guys, you can't explain it. I mean, you're dressed up and you're waiting and it's your time. And it's a lot of like hurry up and wait.
And how was the crowd? They must have been like crazy.
I'm going to tell you something. The crowd was crazy when I walked in, but once I got into that ring, all you saw were lights, your opponent in front of you,
You
and
hear
a
nothing.
bell ring.
That's it.
Nothing. People were calling my name, punch this, do that, jab here. I didn't hear any of that. It was
Nothing.
like you got in there, you hear the bell ring, and everything you learned in the past 4 or 5 months, because you don't really have that much time.
Yeah.
You forget everything.
Of course.
And I'm like, oh my God. But now I know my training partner and my opponent, right? And I'm watching him, so I'm kind of like, okay, this is where we go. Bob, weave, jab.
It's
boom,
coming back to
move
you.
around. And I have, I'm 6'6", I have a longer reach. He was he's a little shorter of a guy, so I was able to kind of keep him away as much as I can. But taller guys have a disadvantage where the shorter guys can get on top of you. And he had some good shots on me. But again, it was a good experience.
How much money was raised? Do you know?
They're still coming out with the final figures. The event, costs a lot. I mean, it was at the Hilton in, I believe, Farmingdale, off 110, and it was mobbed. There was 50 different food vendors. There was rings, lights, setup, the whole nine. I mean,
so it was expensive night.
It's a legit. And some of the money that's raised from the charity goes to sponsoring the event. But
I really think I want to do it
close
next
200,
year.
Easy,
Wow, that is fantastic.
We had some boxers that brought in roughly around 40 to 30,000 a piece.
Wow.
I was close to 20.
Nice.
Fantastic.
We've had boxers in the past. They raised over $100,000. So it all depends how creative you are, the team around you, maybe your network.
Right.
You know
what we're gonna do? If this thing comes next year, which it does every year, then next year you're gonna come on. Maybe what we'll do is we'll have a few of the guys on or girls.
Maybe
Yeah,
I'll box next
Oh,
year.
I would love you to box.
So,
I would love you to box.
fact,
I'll come in with the belt.
when you're in the gym, it's funny. Again, this noise, like outside noise, business, family, everything just cancels out, and you're just in the gym and you're training, and it's like a solid 45 minutes of just you're jumping rope for 9 minutes, you're hitting the speed bag for 9 minutes, then you're hitting the bag, then you're in the ring sparring. I loved it. It was like I don't have this piece anywhere else.
Right.
And because of that, I actually joined the Fight for Charity committee.
That's
to help
great.
Bring in more people, tell my story. Again, I'm close to 50 pounds down from.
Well, you look
That's
terrific.
amazing.
You
I
can
weighed
see
in at
it.
216,
You can
thank
see
you.
it in your face. Everything.
Yeah. And until you do it, you don't understand how much your health plays a big role in developing your family as well as your business.
And it's not, when you say health, let's be clear what the gym does: physical and mental health.
Correct.
Going to the gym for me is therapy.
Yeah.
It's my 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I
Right.
can listen to music. I could listen to a self-help book, like you're saying. And when you walk out of that, there's no such thing as a bad workout.
No, there isn't.
No.
There isn't. You know,
As
and when
long as
they-
you're making work progress.
Right.
And when they say to you, like, you know, we follow, you know, these things on Instagram and, you know, your algorithms and et cetera, of like working out and it's going to be better for you or it's going to make you feel better. It really does. Like,
It's no bull. It's no baloney.
No.
It absolutely.
So-
As an entrepreneur, I think it's important that you balance your work life, your family life, and your selfish life. And that is your selfish time, and you're
Yes.
entitled to that.
Yeah.
We're nearing the end of the show, so I have a couple of questions for you. Number one, how does somebody get a hold of you and your company, whether they're commercial or residential, or at this point, we're not in the residential?
We're strictly a commercial shop. We're focusing on a lot of construction management work now.
Okay.
You know, retail spaces that are looking for fit outs, offices that are looking to expand or add more room. You know, full warehouse builds if needed as well too, as far as like getting
Wow.
office spaces built out. And we're getting slowly more involved with developers so we can work
great.
on some larger projects. We do have a lot of partnerships that we've developed through the Optimus Primer side. So we're very selective of who we work with. We don't want to step on anyone's toes.
Sure.
So that's always, you know, my first and foremost when I start working with new clients. But they can reach out to Optimus Group. We have a website that's actually being launched within the next week or so. You know, we're right here in Wantagh in Long Island.
Why don't you
We
give out the
also have
website by the time this
a- yeah,
airs?
OptimusGroupNY.com.
Perfect.
And then we also have a phone number, 516-350-0954.
Excellent.
And then, listen, you guys can get a hold of Randy. You can get a hold of me. We're a direct.
Oh, we're always.
They talk too much.
So property managers,
Yeah, property managers, facility managers, developers. We're working with-
architects.
So right now we're working really hand in hand with architects. We're doing pre-construction services, which helps out a lot. You know, we'd like to get in fairly early on because I have the design, right? I call it finish as the front line. I was the painter. I was the one always leaving at the end. Now, if I can get in from the beginning, I can help out with colors and designs
Right.
and top trending. And I work hand in hand with companies like Benjamin Moore and Sherwin-Williams, bringing in these, you know, colors in play, right? On top of everything else, the millwork, the flooring, the foundation work, you know, it all kind of leads into one. And these pre-construction services, because we can work with the architects, we can help budgetary items, right, throughout the way. And then hopefully at the end of the job, or you know, when they're ready to award the work, you know, we're there.
You've done enough to help it along to sell yourself. So that's terrific. If you're listening and you're in the commercial business and you have commercial properties, you have commercial warehouses, like you said, retail space, whatever it is, this is your man.
Absolutely.
Give me the phone number one more time.
516-350-0954.
Hey, thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming on.
guys.
And you know what? Thank you so much for the charity work that you do and for giving back to the community.
Absolutely.
We love that. We're all about that.
Yep.
Craig's going to do his little shtick now when we exit out.
I
so
actually have one more charity that I'm working on too.
tell us.
I'm working with an owner's rep out of New York, and he contributes a lot back to Zambia, for the children of Zambia. And,
Nice.
We're going to create a charity around that as well too.
Can
to
you
help
remember
strengthen
us?
trade. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we'd love to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Well,
All right.
From B to B with Randy and Craig, that's a wrap.
That's his thing.
That's my thing.
We let him do it.
I do it.
I love it.
Thank you for tuning in to B2B with Randy and Craig. Looking forward to hanging with you next week.